Today we're going to take a look at the principles of procurement. These principles should proactively guide the behavior of professionals in everyday practice. The principles were developed in the context of the Jamaican culture and so may reflect the experiences of that context. The relevance of these principles may vary across other cultures and subcultures across the world. The government of Jamaica's procurement policy is governed by the following key principles: value for money, economy, efficiency, fairness, reliability, transparency, and accountability. Now let's take a look at each and see how they work in practice. Value for money can be looked at the utility derived from every purchase or every sum of money spent. Value for money is based not only on the minimum purchase price, it is also based on the maximum efficiency and effectiveness of the purchase. There are several factors that combines to give you value for money in each procurement process. Some examples of these would be the suitability of the goods to satisfy the current needs that you have. The useful life of the goods may also be considered. Storage costs may also be considered, along with other options that may be specific to your procurement activity that you're undertaking. Now let's take a look at a real example of purchasing a printer. So this table clearly shows that our needs is a printer that is able to print 28 pages per minute with a toner yield of 400,000 and carries a staple. The only printer in this scenario that is providing us with everything that we need is printer 1. However, you would note that printer 1 is being sold for $1 million, whereas printer 2 is being sold for 800,000. Now at a glance, you may be tempted to say printer 2 is the most efficient and effective purchase. You would be wrong. Note that printer 2 is only printing 25 pages per minute, which means it will be running at its maximum capacity at all times. So there would be no excess capacity for you to pull on where that is concerned, which means that the maintenance costs will be higher for printer 2 than printer 1. Additionally, printer 2 is yielding only 350,000 per toner, which means that consumables, you will be using more consumables on printer 2 than printer 1. These factors at face value combines would suggest to you that the better option that satisfies the economy, the efficiency and effectiveness of what you're trying to achieve in this scenario would be printer 1. Economy seeks to achieve the best value for money at a commercially reasonable price. Simply put, the price paid for goods and services should be equivalent to the quality of the goods and services being purchased. Let's continue our example from purchasing the printer. We look at the total cost of ownership. Printer 1 costs 1 million, whereas printer 2, 800,000. If we stop here based on price, printer 2 would be the better option. However, let's look at some additional factors. Recall we said maintenance costs for printer 2 would have been higher due to the fact that it will have a longer running time and no excess capacity to satisfy our needs. We also said consumables costs for printer 2 would be greater due to the maximum yield of that printer not meeting our minimum needs. The net effect is for both factors, printer 2 has a higher cost over a 5 years period. All factors considered, printer 1 has the lowest cost of ownership over 5 years. And though a higher price is paid up front, in the end, you will see a savings of 400,000 if printer 1 is purchased. Efficiency implies practicality, especially in terms of compatibility with your administrative resources and professional capabilities. An example of efficiency at work is we are purchasing the printer that is valued at $1 million. Instead of undertaking an international competitive bidding, it will be better suited and much faster to use a selective or restrictive bidding process to purchase the printer. That will be maximizing your efficiency using the appropriate tools at your disposal. And in that case, you will be achieving your results as quickly as possible while maintaining the desired quality and continue to push your administrative cost down. All procurement activities should be conducted in a fair manner. It should be impartial and consistent, and therefore it will be seen as being reliable. It will allow all your suppliers a level playing field on which to compete. And where those things are present, you will find that you will have a wider option of suppliers to choose from, and persons will be more willing to participate as they will believe, and rightfully so, that the procurement process that is undertaken by your entity is one that is fair and unbiased. An example of a fair practice is if the bid price is disclosed to one supplier, it should be disclosed to all suppliers. And there are several other things that we can look at with fairness, but let's leave it at that for now. Reliability is achieved through the use of rules and procedures which are unambiguous and accessible to all persons who wants to participate in a procurement process. It is important that these rules are not only fair, but they should also be seen as fair to the persons looking on who are using the rules. Examples of some rules and procedures that are used are standard bidding documents. Other examples would include the laws that govern procurement practices in other jurisdictions. Finally, we come to transparency and accountability. Now, practitioners are responsible for enforcing and obeying the rules. If they choose to neglect these rules and procedures, they may be challenged by suppliers or regulating bodies, or even from other key stakeholders. In some cases, they could be sanctioned. Some sanctions include fines of up to $1 million, up to $3 million, or they can be imprisoned. According to the laws of Jamaica, practitioners can also be imprisoned and fined. So it is important for practitioners to constantly enforce and obey the rules that governs procurement. Now, it is also important that all procurement process is able to stand up to scrutiny. And once the practitioner has achieved this, they would have satisfied the transparency and accountability. Thank you for staying until the end of our brief presentation on the principles of procurement. Please feel free to drop us a comment to let us know if there are other principles that we may have missed, and let us know some of the principles that may be in your area that are not mentioned here and how they are applied in your procurement process. Have a good day.